Back again, this time fantasy focus for game week 27. In this video, I break down the players most likely to deliver in front of goal, transfers worth considering, clean sheet prospects, and of course the best captaincy pick. Before we dive in, hit subscribe if you haven't already, because I post these videos weekly. Alright, let's get into it. And starting with goal involvement potential, Haaland sits at the top of the list, though there are some doubts over whether he's actually going to start against Newcastle at the Etihad. He's yellow flagged with a knee issue, and until Pep confirms in his press conference, we won't know if he's available. Still, Haaland carries a 75% chance of scoring or assisting in this game week. Chelsea players feature heavily in this list. Obviously, they're playing Burnley at home, a team that concede over 2 expected goals conceded per game. The top player for Chelsea is Palmer, of course. 71% chance of a goal involvement in game week 27. He scored a hat-trick against Wolves last time out. He was rested the weekend just gone due to the FA Cup and Chelsea playing Hull. So now he's rested and fully fit to play against Burnley. And he's expected 28.9 points over the next 5 game weeks, which actually outpaces even Haaland, who blanks in game week 31. Palmer's now 10.6 million. He's risen in price by 0.2 million over the last week. Yeah, this is one that I'm quite worried about. I was always considering Palmer. I said that in a number of videos, but I just wasn't sure about his injury, whether or not that would have affected how much game time he got. It seems to me that he's getting back to being fully fit, and he looked really good against Wolves. Hopefully for his sake, he does get better and he does get fitter, because we do need him in the World Cup for England. But in terms of my FPL, I'm kind of hoping he doesn't do so well. Other Chelsea names on the list are João Pedro, 66% chance of a goal involvement this weekend, hitting 9 returns in his last 5 games since he claimed that number 9 spot over the lap. Liam Rosenior gave them both a chance, and João Pedro seemed to have grabbed it with both hands. I mean, those returns are ridiculous. Neto also has a great chance of getting a goal involvement against Burnley. He's got a 60% chance after his hat-trick against Hull. And Enzo doesn't quite make the top list this week, but he does sit at 54% chance of returning. Just a word on Mateta, despite the bookies having him at a 60% chance of scoring or assisting against Wolves at home, Fantasy Football Hub actually predict him to get 0 points over the next 5 game weeks. He's now competing with Strand Larsen for starts, so he's obviously a risky pick. Mateta's also got a niggling knee injury that he's had all season. I would completely miss that one out. Strand Larsen actually sits at 55% chance of returning, probably the better pick to go for if you want a Palace forward. Alright, so moving on to game week 27 transfers in, and as you can see, similar to the goal involvements, we've got Palmer and João Pedro at the top of this list. Of course, these are probably 2 of the most informed attackers in the game right now. We already know about João Pedro's returns. Palmer managed to get a hat-trick last week, and they have a great fixture against Burnley at home in game week 27, so I can see why so many managers are moving to them. However, they do then face Arsenal away in game week 28, Aston Villa away in game week 29, and then even Newcastle at home in game week 30. So after the Burnley at home fixture, their fixtures really do drop and become a lot more difficult. I can't see them getting the same returns as they did over the last few game weeks. So for me, they're avoids. But for this specific game week, I'm going to be watching behind my sofa, because yeah, they could do some real damage. Next up is Semenyo, a player that I only managed to get 14 points in game week 26. Over 161,000 managers have brought him in this game week. Semenyo has Newcastle at home next, then Leeds away, Nottingham Forest at home, and West Ham away. So yeah, 4 decent fixtures, I'd say. The Newcastle at home being the more difficult, but City are at home, so I expect a win there. Hopefully Semenyo can grab some returns, because he's been brilliant so far playing for City. Then we've got James Hill. Over 115,000 managers have brought him in. The Bournemouth defender, an enabler if you need someone cheap to go in your defence so you can get more expensive players elsewhere. Great fixtures ahead of him. West Ham away, Sunderland at home, Brentford at home, and then Burnley away in his next 4 game weeks, so I can clearly see why managers are bringing him in. He's managed to get 3 assists in his last 4. It does seem with those fixtures that he's got more chance of getting more returns. Then you've got Virgil van Dijk, Thiago, Rodgers and Fernandes, all 4 players that I mentioned in my transfer targets video. So yeah, these are really good transfers in. I've got 2 of those players already, but I'm definitely considering Morgan Rodgers as well. Alright, looking at game week 27 transfers out, and Bruno Guimaraes is at top of the list with over 183,000 managers transferring him out this week. he's expected to be out until April, where he'll come back and hopefully recover it in time for the World Cup. Next up is Declan Rice, and he's been transferred out by over 97,000 managers this game week. And yeah, this one I can see he's been very frustrating since that game week 20 haul against Bournemouth where he scored 2 goals. He hasn't got an attacking return since then, despite being on set pieces, taking lots of corners, lots of free kicks, and being in and around the area. It seems like his attacking output has really slowed down. And yeah, he's got a couple of defensive contributions in some game weeks, but not really what you want if you're picking Rice in your midfield. So yeah, I can see why managers have transferred him out. After this game week where he plays Wolves away, he then has Tottenham away, Chelsea at home, Brighton away and Everton at home. Not difficult fixtures, but maybe there's better value elsewhere. Next up is Enzo Fernandez, and he's been transferred out by over 92,000 managers. This one I don't really get. He's got Burnley at home next. I mean, I get that he's not returned in the last 2 game weeks, but before that he returned in 3 game weeks, got 6 points, 8 points and then 8 points. His expected goal involvement over the last 2 games has been against Wolves. His expected goal involvement was 1, and against Leeds at home it was 0.82. So despite not getting a return, he has been close. And he's playing Burnley, as I mentioned, who have got an expected goals conceded per 90 of over 2. So he's still an attacking force for Chelsea, not so much like Palmer or Neto or João Pedro, but there's definitely a chance of him getting a return in that game. He's on some set pieces as well. I would have just waited 1 more week where the fixtures turn. I'm likely to move him on in game week 28, but I definitely want to keep him for Burnley at home. So yeah, don't really get that one. Next up is Harry Wilson. He's been transferred out by over 84,000 managers. Another one similar to Enzo. Yes, he's not returned in a few game weeks, but he does have easier fixtures coming up. Sunderland away will be difficult, but he does have Tottenham at home in game week 28, where he managed to pick up 10 points, scoring a goal against them at Tottenham Stadium. Not the most difficult fixture. And then after that, he's got West Ham at home, Nottingham Forest away, and Burnley at home. So for me personally, if I held Wilson, I would definitely be holding him until game week 31. Because then after that, fixtures get a little bit more difficult. So if anybody's still holding on to Wilson and they're considering moving him on, personally for me, I would hold him until game week 31. Then Cucurella, transferred out by over 80,000 managers. Over the last couple of game weeks, he's not been too bad. He managed to get a goal against West Ham and an assist against Wolves. But in terms of clean sheets, I mean, Chelsea have had the easiest run of fixtures that I've seen this season, and they've not picked up a clean sheet in any of those games. Really frustrating there. And then to compound it, he's now got a hamstring injury, 50% chance of playing. Wait until some news comes out for him. But yeah, definitely understand this transfer. A little bit frustrating. Cucurella, probably a bit overpriced at 6.1 million. But yeah, I would definitely move Cucurella on. All right, moving on to game week 27 clean sheet odds, and Chelsea topped this list, 42% chance of keeping a clean sheet. But as I just mentioned, they've had the easiest run of fixtures where they played Crystal Palace away, West Ham at home, Wolves away and Leeds at home, and they didn't keep a clean sheet in any of those games. The last clean sheet they kept was Brentford at home, where they won 2-0. But I think even that game, they were very fortunate to keep a clean sheet. So 42% seems a bit generous to me. They do play Burnley at home, but Burnley, as they've shown against Crystal Palace, they can score goals. The problem they face is just keeping goals out. So whilst I would definitely play my Chelsea players if I had them in my squad, yeah, 42% seems a bit generous considering how poorly they've done so far at keeping clean sheets against similar opposition. Next up is Arsenal with 40% chance of keeping a clean sheet. They got Tottenham away, North London derby. Tottenham aren't doing the greatest, but they do have a new head coach in place, Igor Tudor. Could they get a manager bounce? Remains to be seen. I mean, I would always back Arsenal to keep a clean sheet. Doesn't matter who they play. I've got the triple up in defence with Raya, Timber and Gabriel. So I'm hoping they keep that clean sheet. Next up is Palace. They play Wolves at home. They've got a 38% chance of keeping a clean sheet. Edwards has tightened up the Wolves defence since he's come in. But in terms of expected goals per 90, they rank the lowest in the league since Edwards came in. 0.6 expected goals per 90 when away from home. And finally, moving on to the captaincy pick for game week 27, and For once, Haaland isn't even in this list, which is surprising, according to Fantasy Football Hub. He's only got an expected 5.3 points over this game week. So yeah, quite surprising. Maybe it's something to do with his injury. Who knows? He does have Newcastle at home. Newcastle are very good in terms of expected goals conceded, but I would have expected to see him on the list if he's fit. I do think maybe the yellow flag is playing a part in that. Palmer tops the list. He's got an expected points score of 7.4, 3 goals against Wolves, and rested in the FA Cup. It does make him the strongest captaincy pick in this list. Then you've got Enzo at 6.2. I own him and he has been brilliant, but I mean, I'm not going to captain him against Burnley. You've got players like João Pedro, Palmer ahead of him who are in better forward positions than Enzo. So yeah, definitely somebody I could potentially go with if I was to use Fantasy Football Hub's predicted points. But then we do have Bruno Fernandes, who is more of a 10 playing for United right now. He is expected to get 6 points over the game week 27, playing Everton away. He's already got 18 returns this season. He's a reliable fullback plan if Haaland isn't fit and available for game week 27. And that wraps up Fantasy Focus for game week 27. Goal threats, clean sheets, and captaincy picks all covered. If this helped, drop a like and subscribe so you can catch next week's breakdown and my team selection before the deadline. Tell me how your team's shaping up in the comments below. I'd love to hear your plans. Good luck this week, green arrows, and enjoy the football.